Hello, hello.
Hey, Daniel, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Good. Now, tell me, at what point does this whole character voice thing come about in your life? When do you realize this is your thing?
Oh man, when I was a kid, I used to sit in front of the TV watching Saturday morning cartoons with a big bowl of cereal and just imitate everything that was on the TV. So I think that's pretty much where it started. It evolved into mischief later in life with
Mhm.
imitating my teachers, my parents to get out of school, doing prank phone calls, and then later in life, I realized I could use my powers for good and actually make a living as a voice actor. And so that was a very cathartic moment. And I moved out to LA 2014 to take a shot at it. And so far, so good.
What character voices have you done in your career?
Well, some people may know me as one of the voices of
Daniel Duck! Oh boy, oh boy!
Some people may know me as one of the voices of Lucky the Leprechaun. They're magically delicious. Hoo-hoo! Some people may know me as one of the voices of Starscream. Decepticons, this is Starscream. Make for the rendezvous point. The Allspark will soon be ours. And most recently as Gizmo and Stripe from Multiverses and the Gremlins movies.
Gizmo! White light! White light!
Gizmo Kaka! Yum yum.
When it comes to these voices, is it easier for you to create your own, or is it easier to take somebody's like with Donald Duck that's been done before? You're kind of imitating what somebody else has done and kind of making it your own. Which is easier for you?
I mean, easy is not the word I would use, but I would say coming up with your own is probably easier
Mhm.
because there's precedent involved when you take on a legacy voice, something that's been voiced over generations or by multiple voice actors. There is precedent involved, and you have to know all the little isms. So, as an example for Donald Duck, when I was doing my research, what's the difference between him laughing and him chuckling? Well, the sound of him laughing is a diaphragmic as opposed to his chuckle, which is. So I had to go back and mine all those little details and bring them current for my version of the character, and that is very tedious
Mhm.
and very rewarding.
Now, when you moved to LA to do this as a career, I mean, you're starting out. How do you separate yourself from everybody else who's trying to do the same thing?
Wow, really good question. I made a calculated decision that I would move to LA to focus on voiceover because I always knew that it was something that I could potentially leverage. I could go out to LA and be an on camera actor just like everybody else, or I could pursue voiceover and see what happened. So I gave myself 5 years. And now we're on to the second 5 years.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so, again, so far, so good.
Now, when it comes to all these voices that you're able to do, um, do you find that your friends exploit that?
Oh yes, and why shouldn't they? Oh, it's so much fun. I'll get a call sometimes, late at night. Hey, can you do the voice? We've got a bunch of people over, and of course I will, because it's just so much fun. If I can bring some smiles, bring some joy, bring some levity, that's really what this job is all about.
Now, what voices do you have coming that you're working on that we haven't yet heard?
Oh man, I wish I could tell you. I wish I could tell you. What I can tell you right now is that you can hear my voice in Diablo Immortal. You can hear my voice in Genshin Impact, Multiverses, Mickey Mouse Funhouse. Oh my goodness, Snab a Cash on Netflix. I do a bunch of different things, but yeah, I can't tell you what's coming out because that's confidential.
When you're doing these voices for, say, a cartoon, um, are you recording it while watching it, or are you recording it with just a script in front of you?
Usually just a script in front of me. We call that prelay animation because you're doing the voice first and then
Mhm.
they animate to it later. But once in a while, you'll get an animatic, which is a rough animation to be able to get timing or fit words into certain placements. But I find that to be less common.
Is it more difficult to do it when you have the image in front of you as it's moving around? You're trying to add to it. I mean, is it more acting then? How's it work for
I
you?
think It's definitely more difficult because you have constricted the performance to be able to fit what you're seeing, as opposed to just doing the performance and letting the animators decide what to do with that, in their process. So I like prelay where there are no restrictions. I think that's the most freeing and the most fun because you can just do whatever.
Now, when you look back at some of these voice people from years ago, what they had to work with then versus what we have today,
Oh
do
man,
you
we are spoiled rotten.
do for those who don't know, what did they have to do back then? That's easier for you.
Going into a soundstage and recording on tape, everything is digital now. So, if they made mistakes, they would have to cut the tape and that would cost money and it would cost time. And so I think the process was slower, things were clunkier. And these days, like I said, we are spoiled rotten. You and I are having this conversation over Zoom.
It's true.
And, that's something that no one had a concept of back then.
All right. Well, Daniel's been great talking to you. We can't wait to see what or hear what comes from you next.
Thank you so much.
Happy holidays.
And don't forget to follow me on social media if you'd like under actor Daniel Ross.
Thanks, Daniel.
Cheers.